name is Aaron Little Hawk Fimbres, and I'm the marketing lead and event coordinator here at Burton Santa Monica. These are my partners Bailey and Rex. They are the shop dogs here at this location, and we would love for you to come and stop by. So look forward to seeing you drop in. Burton itself started off in 1977, founded by Jake Burton Carpenter. Burton was his middle name, named after his grandma, and you know, he had the passion for snowboarding and taking it to the next level just by putting all his design and engineering and, you know, into even every product we see in here today. I think that's what makes this company still so awesome, because it's always progressive and always changing, always dynamic, and it's made Burton itself has become, you know, pretty much the godfather of snowboarding, and for those same reasons.
When I mentioned to a few people I was coming to Burton, they're like, oh, they're huge. And so, but yeah, it feels very kind of small, at the same, like small town vibe. So how was that something that the owner was cognizant of? And
I mean, the reason why these two guys are here is because he wanted shop dogs to be in every shop, that of course the dogs would be okay with kids, other dogs, and people, so they'd have to be, you know, just well behaved. But he, you know, is part of the culture here at Burton, where they want you to feel like you're walking into your family neighborhood snowboard shop, or you know, you're seeing the same people who are working and the same people you trust that you see on the mountain. So that a lot of that has been definitely well thought out.
How long have you been with Burton?
I've been with the Burton since 2016, so 5 years, yeah.
And are you a snowboarder?
I am, yeah.
So tell me about that. How did you get started snowboarding?
I got started when I was 12 years old. My neighbor took me to Snow Summit, and instead of taking me down the bunny hill, he took me straight to the top and said, this is the only way you're gonna learn. So naturally I slid down on my chest like a penguin the whole run, and you know, had a few close calls with some trees, but he kind of afterwards, I was a little, you know, as a 12-year-old would be, I was like whining about it. I was like, oh, this isn't fun. Why do people do this? And he said, well, it's your attitude. Are you going to get back up and keep going and keep pushing? Or are you going to sit here and give up and, you know, be upset? And I looked at it as a challenge. Was like, you know what? I'm going to learn this and I'm going to master this. And by the end of the day, I was able to understand the concept of snowboarding. And then, you know, 4 or 5 years later, I started to get progressively better, just going, you know, 3 or 4 times a year. Just, you know, wasn't able to much living here in LA without many of my friends taking me and going with me. But soon after I went to Tahoe, you know, went to college, really fell back in love with snowboarding. And when I moved back to LA, it was just something I couldn't see my life without anymore. So, you know, I think the universe aligned to bring me into Burton's path and vice versa.
How do you feel about the products? Like, would you use Burton Snowboards?
Definitely. I mean, I think I'm one of the biggest people in this location, I should say, that is a brand ambassador. Me and my coworker Ryan, on any given day, whether it's day on, day off, we'll have Burton, like everything I'm wearing is Burton. From, you know, it's tech apparel, so it's functional, it's comfy, it's hiking wear. I could wear it on the mountains if I wanted to. I could wear it, you know, beautiful Santa Monica. So, I mean, the snowboards are the best around. I've ridden many different companies' boards, and nobody backs it up like Burton does with durability and quality. So that in itself, I mean, we're the reason why a lot of companies in itself model after us and follow our technology, because it's, you know, we're pretty much the revolutionaries with a lot of the stuff that's on the mountain today.
So what makes the snowboard so special?
We have one of the only snowboards, I think, that's considered to be all channel, which means that there's a slit in the middle of the board that gives you unlimited stance options, where most other companies haven't gotten around to that technology yet. If you don't like the way that the pre-given stance are on the 4-hole pattern boards, all you have to do is just move it an inch or half inch or a centimeter increment, and you can have whatever stance you like. This is our step-on technology. This has become the future of snowboarding for the simple reason, well, let me show you. Put down, you're in.
You don't have to strap in anymore if you don't want to. It is actually debatably more responsive than straps because you have a high back that now follows your every movement. So when you're moving and pumping and twisting and thrashing and you need to do a quick maneuver, the binding and the boot work in conjunction to make it a little bit more responsive when you need it to be. And then to get out, this little lever, lift it up, you're out. So it's, I think the market needs something to simplify snowboarding in itself. Straps break, things happen. This helps eliminate some of the problems and some of the, annoyances of snowboarding.
That's cool. And what about your helmets? Are they Burton as well?
Yeah, our company is for helmets and goggles is actually Anon, and the reason why it's called Anon is because originally they wanted to market it towards skiers as well, and because skiers associated Burton with snowboarding, they made Anon, which is anonymous, so anyone could kind of rock an Anon helmet or goggle. We have some of the most innovative technology in the industry, including the magnetic lens changing capability, where if you need to change your lens because of variable light conditions, all you got to do is just pop it off and drop it back on. Our technology in that as well is the most superior because we partnered with WaveCell, which is made by doctors and people who've really studied how helmets should be engineered. And that in itself, the technology that we've put into our helmets, they may cost as much as $320 retail, but it's going to protect your brain better than anything else on the market, which is this material right here. It acts as a crumple zone in a car, so that way when you have a high velocity impact, it'll actually absorb most of the momentum, reducing the concussion impact on your brain. So the helmet will take most of the damage as it should, your brain stays safe. So WaveCell is some of the best technology that's come out. You could actually see it right here in this helmet.
People often think of, well, it's snow, it's soft, I don't really need a helmet. What do you think about that? Why do people need helmets?
That's a great question because most people, I think, like depict the snowboarding experience as you're falling in snow, so it's going to be soft, but especially in Southern California, most of the time you throw a dart on the calendar and were to hit a day on the calendar, it's going to be a bluebird sunny beautiful day, and that means when the sun hits the snow, it melts, turns to ice, and you get a lot slicker surfaces. One of my friends came off of the jump, landed perfectly, he ended up falling a little bit at the end of the bottom of the jump, and a guy who overshot the jump, overshot the landing, landed on his head with the snowboard and cut through his goggles, cut through his beanie, and filleted the top of his scalp. And he was, a good, confident snowboarder. He just pulled off to the side and was just waiting for his friend to come, and somebody poached the jump and landed on him. And, that's one story of why you may want a helmet, just because he wasn't even aware of the situation until he woke up in the hospital.
So for beginners that want to start snowboarding, they don't want to get hurt, they're not sure what to do, they feel a little silly about it, how do you guide them?
Us here in this store, no associate, manager, anyone who's employed by Burton, I think does make commission in the retail atmosphere, I should say. We are 100% honesty based. So if you come in here and you say, what do you think of this Custom X Flying V? Is this for me? I'm gonna tell you, if you got the money for it, if you wanna ride it, sure, it's for you. But if you want me to ask, if you're asking me my recommendation to give you a board, if you're a beginner, I'm gonna put you on something that you want to ride, something that your personality, or what I like to call riding personality, will describe to me. So if someone just wants to cruise and have a good time and be mellow, or if someone wants to thrash in the park and flip and do wildcats and crazy tricks, we'll get you to where you need to go. But it's more so just understanding the needs of our clients to make it the most personable and most functional experience around. This one right here is very unique in the fact that it's called the POW Surf. It's actually designed by one of the great riders of our time, JG, John Gurn. He was a good friend of Jake Burton Carpenter, and this legendary idea actually came from hybridizing surfboards and snowboards because, as you could tell, it's as lightweight as a surfboard, made from the same material as a surfboard, rides like a snowboard. It's even got channels in it. You just take a leash that attaches right here, attach it over to your legs,
You stand on here with your normal snowboard boots and you just surf down the mountain. And of course you can't use it on groomed runs because it doesn't have metal edges, but on fresh powder days, this is what you want to be riding and taking up on the back hill. And even flexes too like a snowboard, so most people will be cringing looking at this, but it's okay. This is what it's designed for. I've seen JG almost fold this thing in half before. This is the board is called the Name Dropper. I actually own 2 of them. This is one of my favorite boards just because of the fact that it could do this. You could bend it to no extent and it really just pops back into its shape because it's designed to be that noodle under your feet. If you want to play around and have a really soft board, oh yeah, that fiberglass, that's the board that you want under your feet when you're really trying to get some butters way up in the air, you're trying to do something really fun. This one will allow for the most flexibility. I love it. So this one's called the Deep Days. It's designed for the most hydrodynamic board because of the fact that it has these little channels in it. And what that does is when you're going on really nice loose snow, you're able to just carve and turn with ease. The metal edges run throughout the entirety of the nose, but on the tail, there's actually no metal edges, which means that it's just gonna be a really loose, fun board to ride around. One of our coworkers and one of my best friends, Ryan Williams, says this is the end-all be-all to all snowboards. It'll be your quiver killer because it goes in the trees, it's super fun, it goes through the park, it's a rocker nose with a flat bottom, so it's really predictable and really easy to just mess around on. It has very little side cuts, so you could just wail on those rails and get sideways, do some drawn out carves, but I think this one has been the shop favorite for most of this year.
Now that snowboarding is part of the Olympics, how has that changed things for Burton?
We've had a lot of riders in the Olympics, and we have, I think, the privilege of having some of the most talented riders in the industry on our team, and that in itself is just, I think, pure marketing for the company, because some of the Olympic suits that we wore in the last Winter Olympic Games were designed by Burton, and they were, I'm not sure if you recall, but they look like NASA astronaut spacesuits. That was the US snowboard team and the Olympic snowboard team's spacesuits by Burton. I think what's cool about this company is we've branched off into markets that haven't been tapped into for our industry. We deal with, makeup artists, fashion designers, hairdressers, backup dancers, actors, dancers, like everyone in that community. And that's only, I'm talking exclusively through our luggage, because they made our bags so durable for snowboarders to use and abuse in Alaska and Canada and South America, traveling all over the world for snowboarding, that it's so tough. It's wanted by everyone else in other industries. Backpacks are made with Cordura fabric, which is tear resistant, water resistant, some of the hardiest material. It's made in bulletproof vests. The Army uses Cordura. It's tough. So a lot of our backpacks will have it. Every single backpack that we make has the laptop storage compartment, which is important if you're traveling. A lot of them do have these clips so you could stick a skateboard, a snowboard, or any kind of board that you need to travel with relatively quickly. They're all going to be functional. Depends on what kind of functionality you need, because some of them will have the tape zippers for ultra waterproofing. Some of them will just have these rugged, thick zippers for stretch, including if you're packing and you need to travel. It just has a lot of this extra room, so that way you can just pack it as much as possible, and it'll keep going. It's called the Cram Zone. It's only in Burton luggage.
So who are the other, because snowboarders are celebrities now. We have the Shaun Whites. I mean, he's been a celebrity for a long time now.
Yeah.
Nice guy. I met him in Colorado. Really nice guy. Down to earth, easygoing, generous, just sweet guy. So who are the other snowboarders that people would know that use Burton?
I would have to say some of the top legends in the game, going back to, I think, one of my celebrity heroes in snowboarding is Dave Downing. I work with him actually quite often, which is a blessing and a privilege in my honor. But yeah, I mean, he and his wife Shannon Downing were pro snowboarders, and they changed the game in many different ways. Like, Dave has made one of the best snowboards in the industry today that is still running, the custom. Shannon was one of the first female pro snowboarders to have her own pro model and is, idolized by a lot of up and coming and still like pro riders today that are female. Anna Gasser's a great sweetheart, amazing snowboarder. Like, she started off, just literally wanting to pursue her dream, and she became really good really quick with a lot of determination and practice. Mark McMorris, he's awesome. I love him. Every time I see him, I feel like it's like seeing one of my best friends again, because he just treats you like family. And that's, coming from one of the world's top snowboarders, to see him, it's super cool. Brock Crouch, Luke Winkleman, these are all, young up and coming snowboarders who's in probably the next 10 or 20 years will be, the great ones in the Snowboard Hall of Fame. So
what makes this store so different from the other Burton stores?
I think, we were at one point in time, the only Burton store to carry Channel Island surfboards, but I think in the fact that we are kind of very central to most destinations. People are flying from Hawaii to Colorado, stopping in LA. People are coming from South America to Alaska, stopping here. It's like kind of this midpoint where everyone is congregating, and we have a pretty big, beautiful, unique store where we have these glass windows. Like, we have, we've done a lot of movie premieres here. We've done a lot of different private hostings for celebrities. We've done things that I think has made Burton a lot more reputable amongst, like, I'd say LA natives. And, LA is kind of always on the forward front of the world. So I think in that sense, our store and the New York location are both really heavy hitters when it comes to pushing the brand forward and exposure. So, we'll do, secret concerts in here with So Far Sounds that get people in who have never even heard of us, and they'll just be blown away with, we have, free Red Bulls to hand out to guests. We have shop dogs running around. Normally we'll make popcorn on any given day to hand out to, kids and people walking by. We'll do food pop-ups. It's more than just like a retail store. It's definitely I like to think of it as just, a flagship, because we're just here for the experience. When you walk in our doors, you never know what experience you're gonna get, but you're gonna get an experience for sure. And that's what's cool.
How do people find out about all these things that are happening with Burton?
We used to have Instagram for the store, but I think they've tried to go more centralized route with only having like the Burton official Instagram. Mm-hmm. But our store itself, if you were to Google it, if you go to Google My Business, I'm usually trying to post every event and every happening on Google, so that way if you want to see anything that's happening, like, oh, let me see what's going on at the Burton store, just Google Burton Santa Monica. It'll pull up our website, our reviews, all the events that are happening, any promotions, any discounts. And I mean, the most, I think, efficient way is if you wanted to just come into the shop and talk to me or talk to any of our staff and reach out, because we'll give you a full list of events. And I think it's cool because we're very adaptable. So if there's something that anyone wants to do for an event, like if someone wants to just DJ a set for 2 hours in the front, I'm willing to give them the chance and, put them out in the middle of Santa Monica to hear their music, because it's something that it's different. And I think being different is the key. And I like to explore those differences for sure.
So tell me about the employees. Like, how do you pick them, and are they all snowboarders, or tell me about them.
We hire skiers too. We hire everyone from all backgrounds, and I think as long as you have a passion for people and you have a passion, even if you don't want to learn how to snowboard, even if you just want to be on the snow to be your best friend's cheerleader, to be supporting the people around you. We've hired everyone from all backgrounds, and we will continue to do so, because I think that's the whole part of snowboarding, is the inclusivity. Inclusivity. Bringing everyone together, no matter who they are, where they're from, what their background is, because nobody started off born with a snowboard on their feet. It's about bringing those people into the culture and showing them what it's like. Why, we camp on the side of the slope with our dogs in the back of our car, like eating canned food, to wake up at 7, freezing cold, to go snowboarding. It's not because this is like, it's our idea of fun, but it's the community we're with, like the friends we're making these memories with, and the people we share our time with on the mountain and off the mountain is really, it's cool.
Does Burton do any charity or community projects or anything that's either specific to Santa Monica or just nationally?
Yes, both actually. We have the Chill Foundation, which I also am a part of. It's a foundation that gets underprivileged youth into skating, surfing, snowboarding, paddleboarding, all board sports. Here in LA, we have the Chill Los Angeles program, which is run by Alex Whitaker, and he is one of the most rad, selfless dudes I've ever met. He takes these kids from Silmar and from far outbounds, brings them all the way out to Venice Beach to go surfing. We take them to downtown to the barracks to go skating, and these kids never have had the opportunity to buy a board, set foot on a board. The equipment's expensive. Getting out there commuting is hard. It's sometimes dangerous to even leave your communities. These riders and athletes that are coming from these communities are some of the best in the world, and I think that by what Chill's doing is giving that key to unlock the opportunity for all these kids out there.